5 and 9. And hey, what's up, everybody? I got rid of the overlay. All right, yeah, I did. All right, guys, thanks for joining us. Another episode of Rooting for Laundry coming at you. I do this on the fly, so. All right, welcome to Rooting for Laundry. This is episode 8. Episode 8. Thanks for joining me. If you joined us before, follow us at Rooting for Laundry on the Instagram and Twitter page. Thank you guys for tuning in. Every Monday around 2, this is what we do. We have nothing else to do. So happy Memorial Day. Not your usual Memorial Day, but thanks for spending it with me. Can't go to the pool. You can't cook anything or something bad will happen, but thanks for joining us. We appreciate it. So, yeah, it's going to be a fun show because I got a very special guest. I got a buddy of mine. He's been doing well. He's been on the Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon. He's been on the Eliza Schlesinger sketch show on Netflix. You can catch him there. You can also listen to him live on the No Disrespect podcast every Thursday on the Gas Digital Network. And you can see him in the upcoming Judd Apatow movie, The King of Staten Island with Pete Davidson. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for my buddy, Mike Vecchione. Mike,
hey,
what's up, buddy?
Hey, what's up, Johnny? How are you?
How you doing, man?
I'm good, man. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks for being on. I know you're a busy guy. Well, nobody's busy now, but
busy now.
Yeah, it all sucks. But how you holding up in all this quarantine shit?
Yeah, I'm good, man. I'm doing good. I'm trying to maintain some kind of a routine. I don't know. I mean, you have a family, so it's me and my girl together. So we're trying to like have a routine. You know, I think that's the key to it.
Yeah, key to a healthy relationship. So, like again, thanks again for hopping on. So I know you're a big Philadelphia Eagles fan.
Yes.
How did that start? How did that? When did it?
Well, I grew up in Northeast Ohio. I grew up in Northeast Ohio in Youngstown, Ohio. So, in my town, Youngstown is right on the Pennsylvania border in Ohio. So half the people there are Browns fans and half are Steelers fans. So I was a Browns fan growing up.
You was.
Yeah. Huge Browns fan.
Yeah. What?
And then we had to listen to the Steelers run their mouths because they had 4 Super Bowls in the 70s. So they would talk about their Super Bowls constantly. And so that was frustrating. And and then of course the I think it was the 87, 88. I don't know, the late 80s they were good with Kozar.
Yeah, they went to that. Yeah, they blew that
playoff run.
game.
They got stumped out by the
Buffalo
by the Broncos.
Okay, I remember that. Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, I was not. Yeah. I was in tears. Both those games, I was like in tears. So dog pound, all that stuff, I was way in. But yeah, I became an Eagles fan because after college, I moved to Philadelphia. So there was no like ticket, like it's not like it is now where you could watch any game. You just had to watch whatever team.
Yeah, one game.
Whatever town you were in. So they would just televise the Eagles game. And I lived downtown at the time. I lived in the art museum area. So I would just watch the Eagles and I became, I became a fan. Plus I think it's good. I might be alone on this, but whatever town you live in, I think it's good to root for that team. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm born and raised in New York, so I root for all New York teams. I mean, not nowadays. It's probably not like that anymore because of the internet. And if you want to be a fan of whatever team you want to be, you just look up. It's like, oh, I was a Golden State Warrior fan way before Steph Curry, and just look up stuff and be like, oh, I remember this, I remember that. But it's not the same. Nobody really roots. I don't know too many people that root for their hometown.
Well, even when the Giants are in the same division as the Eagles, and I know that. So of course I want the Eagles to win the division every year. Of course I want them to beat the Giants in head-on-head games. But when the Giants are in the playoffs and the Eagles are out, I live in New York. Like I want to see the Giants. Like if it's between the Giants and the Patriots winning the Super Bowl, I want to see the Giants win. Because you know what I mean? It's like it's kind of like I have a connection to the city that I'm in.
Mm-hmm.
So it might not be my primary team, but I'm going to root for the city that I'm living in, you know?
Yeah. It's not, you don't have that mentality of, oh, I hate the team, especially in your division. Like, oh, I hate this team now. If they like blow you out of contention.
No, I don't hate the team. Like I have the opinion, like I want look, I want the Eagles to win the NFC East every year. I want them to win the division, you know?
Yeah.
But if, let's say that all is lost and they're out, like, and New York is in the playoffs, like I'm going to root for New York.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm going to root for them because it's like I live here in this city. It always baffles me people can root against the city that they. I mean, I understand that you're a fan of things since childhood, and it's not, you don't want to be a fair weather fan, but it's always good to root for the city that you're actually living in. You know?
Yeah, because things good things turn out at the end of the day. Yeah, me, I'm like I usually hate the other. I don't hate like the other city or the other unless they beat us, like, you know, as being like for example, I'm a Jets fan, and if Buffalo beats us, then I'll probably hold some disdain to it, but I won't hold a grudge again. But I see your point too.
But what if,
you know,
like, the thing is, what if you lived in Buffalo? What if you lived in Buffalo? You would
Oh,
be
God,
a Jets
no.
fan still, but like if
Yeah.
the Jets were completely out of it, it's like, hey, you know, I live in this town. Like I want to see. I don't know. I want to see the city do well. I want to see everybody happy. You know what I mean? Like it's not my team, but I understand that. But I want to see everybody who is a fan who lives in this town since I live here. I'd like to see them happy. Some people are the opposite. They want to see everybody miserable.
Yeah, it all depends. I mean, moving to Buffalo, that would suck in itself. So
Yeah.
I mean,
well, that's the wrong attitude to have if you're going to.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Well, in New York, I think in New York is different because everybody moves from a different, you know, town, and everybody like will adapt.
Right.
The team that's like, all right, the Yankees are winning. Okay, cool. You know what I'm saying? It's good for the city. So
well, people get on me because they're like, you weren't a fan of the Eagles since childhood. It's like, okay, yeah, I understand that. I was a Browns fan, and I'm still a Browns fan. You know.
Now let me ask you this: were you like not
for so long there?
That's
but, like,
true.
The whole thing is like moving to Philadelphia. At the time, there was no sports ticket or anything. There was just like the Eagles were on, and it was like you're living in the city, so you can either get on board or you can not watch football. I guess I don't know. Like, you know,
that's true. That's true. Now, is part of you not being a Browns fan because also they went packing to Baltimore? Is that like, you know what, they left?
That was a huge thing when I was in college. It was a couple things. The whole Belichick telling Kozar that he had no talent was hard, very hard, because he was from my hometown. He's from my hometown, Kozar.
Oh, Bernie.
So we're huge Kozar fans. So when Belichick came in and basically said that Kozar had no talent, it was, I mean, it blew our minds. And also, the team moving in the middle of the night.
Packed up and gone.
What happened, but a lot of people blamed Art Modell for that. So you know, people were very, very angry.
Yeah. So, people, did you know, like growing up in Ohio, did they stick with the Browns, or they like, all right, I guess I'll be a Ravens fan? Huh?
Those people are diehard Browns, man.
Yeah.
They would never go. They would never root for the Ravens. They root harder against the Ravens.
Yeah. So well, the Browns came back at the end of the day, so it's.
Yeah, the Browns came back, and it's been tumultuous since. I don't know. Like, and then you look at Belichick, you look at the moves he's made, and it's like, the guy is just. I mean, even if you're not a Patriots fan or a Belichick fan, you can't argue with the record. You can't argue with his success. You know,
and the legacy. Yeah, you can't argue with that at all.
It's unbelievable. Yeah. Like, and I like. He's like from a military background, so I do like that though. I like the military. The non-emotional. And I also like the fact that he doesn't give them, like, when he interviews the media, people like make fun of him and call him names because he gives them nothing. But that's part of it. I love that. I love that he gives them nothing, and they.
He's one of the few. He's really like just very a hard ass. He's like, no, he's just like, you come in, look at everybody, one word answers,
right?
Keeps it moving. Yeah.
Win or lose, though. He's like that, win or lose, because a lot of times these reporters, they're not really looking for information. They're looking for an emotional exchange. They really are. They're not looking. Everybody knows what happened and what the information. I mean, so there's some questions that are relevant, but most of it is just an emotional exchange. And he he answers he tries to answer the question without like any kind of emotional. He doesn't want to participate in that emotional exchange with the reporters, and I like that because they can take whatever you're going to say and they can take it and manipulate it however they want.
Oh, absolutely. That's what the media does.
With the sports talk now, they take whatever soundbite that you have, recorded and intended that way. They take it and they manipulate it into their own narrative. It's like a male soap opera.
Yeah, it's really, that's what it's become. That's a media, and everybody's a media conglomerate, basically. Any, Twitter, you have all these websites that, contribute, and it's like, oh, he said what?
Right.
That's why I guess Bill with the one-word answers, it's just freaking great. Just good.
I personally like that a lot because I know what they're trying to do. They're trying to get sound bites so they can spin the narrative into whatever they want, and he doesn't give them any of that. And I like that a lot.
Yeah, staying woke. That's what you basically are.
Yeah, he just sticks to the X's and O's.
Yeah. So 95, you became a fan. So that was Ray Rhodes' first year, right?
Ray Rhodes, who I actually felt bad for.
Yeah, because he was there for what, like 3 years. It's actually he was the coach of Randall Cunningham's last season. You're a big Cunningham guy, or?
I liked Cunningham, but I think Cunningham was gone by the time that Ray Rhodes got there.
No, well, his first season he was there, but they didn't work out. And the following season he benched him, and in favor of Rodney Pete, and then it just that relationship wasn't the same. So
right.
Yeah, but Randall was very exciting. I like him.
Exciting, hugely exciting, but he just happened to be like they could never beat like the Niners or whoever it was.
Yeah,
they always got to the playoffs, but could never like win out. They always would run into the Niners and just get massacred. But that defensive line was just maybe the best defensive line in pro football.
Oh yeah, at the time, there were a bunch of beasts on there.
Reggie White and Drew.
Yeah, Reggie White's the legend. Yeah, Russell.
It was just insane. Like all those U of M guys, it was great. And Randall Cunningham was great also.
Yeah.
So, but I wasn't. I got there after that when Ray Rhodes took over, and I was teaching in Northeast Philly. This is funny. I was teaching in Northeast Philly, and I was.
And that's the hood, right?
Yeah. By the airport, which is southwest of the city, so I had to drive diagonally home, and I would get off in South Philly sometimes, and I would go to this bar called the Philly Rock. Gotcha. And the Philly Rock, I would just go there and have a beer after, on my way home. So I stopped at the Philly Rock one time, and they had the Ray Rhodes show. It was the Monday after the game,
every game, the sports talk radio, most sports radio affiliates have that,
right. So it's Monday. It's the Monday after the show, and they're having the Ray Rhodes, and they were having a losing season. They were like losing every game. They had a couple wins, but they were not in contention. So they still, I guess they have a contract, so they still keep the Ray Rhodes show on. And it was after a loss, and I'm sitting there just having a beer, and I noticed the radio station equipment in another section. The Ray Rhodes show that they're having, and there's like 2-3 other guys at the bar. It's empty, and they tell me, like, the bartender's like, the Ray Rhodes show is coming on. They broadcast live from WIP, which is 610 Sports Network in Philly. So the guys at the bar, I'm talking to them, I'm having like a friendly conversation about the Eagles. I wish they were better. And they go, when he comes out, we're gonna boo him. And I go, what? They go, yeah, he deserves to be booed. We are going to boo him. It's 3 people. Now, mind you, there's 3 people there. So at the bar's empty, and they're still doing the show. And they're like, when he comes out, we are going to boo him. And then I'm like, I'm not doing that. And they're like, you're not going to boo this guy? You're not going to boo him? I'm like, absolutely not. Look at how pathetic. There's like 3 of us here. That's right. You guys have a hard enough time. Like, he needs us to. He knows it's not a good season. You think he's trying to fail? It's like, I'm not going to be part of that, like booing somebody. It's like, then you go on the internet now and you see what the internet is. It's guys like that,
that's what the guys like that, man. And being in Philly, you think they have like the worst fans in the history of anything?
I think I went to a game like maybe a year ago, 2 years ago. I think it's gotten much better, man. I think that
that was in Philly or in New York?
What's that?
Was that in Philly or in New York?
No, I was living in New York, but I went to an Eagles. And I gotta say, it's gotten much better as far as like people respecting each other different. I think anti-bullying, all that stuff, like just the way that things have evolved over time is it's just like I think at least from what I saw, it was better. From what I saw when I lived there, I went like, I didn't go that often, like one time or two times. It was brutal. I mean, it was brutal. Yeah. It is a thing where it was like, if you were wearing a different team's jersey, it was just
jersey. Yeah, they'll beat you. Yeah, every sporting event, every fight I've seen, it involves something in a Philadelphia uniform.
Yeah,
whether it's the Flyers or the Phillies.
And
I
have to say, like, I'm not a fan of that at all. Like, like that's not like people think that's cool or they think it's. I just think it's that's pathetic. I'm not a fan of it. I don't like it, and I think that if you're putting, and I'm a sports fan, but if you're putting that much weight into sports and you're like you're taking it to the point where it's like you're gonna beat somebody up or fight somebody, over a sports, like over somebody wearing another uniform, you have deeper problems. Like real problems. You're taking those problems out. You're taking them out in a place where other people are trying to have a good time. It's just. It sucks. I don't like it at all. It's cowardly.
Yeah, and usually football games are different because there's so much, people get there and tailgate and get, shit faced, and so it's a different mentality. And like people, run around. They just start. Like I went to a Jets-Giants game last year, and probably like 3 or 4 fights broke out for no apparent reason. It's just just one guy says this, another guy has this, and it just escalates to BS. And I don't like it too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't mind the trash talking. But it is all right, I'm not gonna fight you over something I haven't.
It's all like levity. You keep it fun. And like,
absolutely.
Playful. You know what I mean? But like when you start attacking somebody, whatever.
Yeah, and then it gets out of hand.
A lot of guys from one side and like one guy from another team.
Yeah, it gets once the groups happen and the alcohol, it's
right.
It's
but on the other hand of it, sometimes the other team can come in and they can be like arrogant and like they could be talking shit. It's like, hey, dude, like you can't be arrogant either because all these fans, like people will let stuff go, but like if you're being malicious about what you're saying, it's like somebody's gonna step up and hate you.
Yeah, especially when like a lot of families are there. Some people have the sons there, and then there's a brawl breaks out, and then the son gets involved, and the wife gets involved, and then it gets real ugly, really fast.
It's a real family activity in Philadelphia.
Yeah, it's really crazy. So talk about when they first went. Like, remember the team? I like when McNabb came along. That was a big deal. Were you excited about that when the McNabb
but before that, it was like there was a series of other quarterbacks where they were like, this guy, like they would have one good preseason game, and the media was like, this guy is our future.
Yeah, like Ty Detmer or Coy Detmer.
It's hilarious to listen to them guys do that. Like, I mean, it's like I remember that was the thing with like no disrespect to Bobby Hoying, who was an Ohio State kid. But he was there, like, this guy is the future. Bobby Hoying is the future. And,
the future, yeah.
Out, so it's like, they were really big on that. But the McNabb years were, like, unbelievably exciting.
Yeah, they were. And then in 2004, they go to the Super Bowl with Terrell Owens against the Patriots. Do you remember where you were when you watched that game? And
I moved to New York. I just moved to New York. So Big J is also – I used to watch the games with Big J because we.
I remember. Yeah, Big J Okerson's a big fan.
Yeah. So we were both. He's from Philadelphia. I lived there, so we came out of the same club. We came out of the Laugh House in Philly. So up here, we would make it a thing. Like we probably because we couldn't watch it. They weren't televised. We would go to this. We started going to this bar near the comic strip called Ship of Fools. Okay, and they would show Philly. It's not there. It's not there anymore. But we used to go there and watch the games, and it was like exciting, man. Especially that year, it was thrilling, man. It was unreal.
And a lot of Philly. Was it like a Philly-based sports bar? Because like there's a sports bar like in New York. I think there's a sports bar created to that fan base. Like I know they have a San Francisco sports bar and a Dallas sports bar for every So was that a Philly-based or?
It wasn't in Philadelphia, but it was just the beginning of satellite where they had all the games.
Oh yeah, DirecTV came out and it's like, oh yeah,
Right.
you can watch any game every
We
game.
sat in the Eagles section and rooted for
I
the
got
Eagles,
you.
but you can see all the other games going on, which was like a new thing.
Oh, okay. No, that's when all these cool. You can watch all these games, and like if fantasy football started becoming big. Are you a fantasy guy or no?
No, I think it's a sneaky way to get people to do math. And
Yeah, it is. I think it is too. I mean, it's a lot of fun, but like football, like fantasy football is like it's like really intense because some people play in like 4 or 5 leagues and then they drop a lot of money. So it can be addictive, but it is a sneaky way to do math because it's like a lot of
I don't like that. I don't want to have to think.
No extra math for Mike Vecchione.
I don't want to have to think. You're not going to teach me thinking.
Yeah. So when you watched that Super Bowl game and they lost, was it because it was a close game too, if you remember?
I was heartbroken. I was furious. Like I threw something at the wall. I was completely disappointed and saddened by it. You know, I was really sad.
Yeah, it bums out, but you get over it after a couple of times, and after that, you probably think they never make it again. But
well, you know what? After that, it's like you kind of have to. It's okay to feel disappointed, but you kind of have to detach from the fact, like you're like, okay, you're not on the team. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like I'm depressed, but this shouldn't ruin my life now. You know
yeah.
what I mean?
That's how I think at a younger age. That's how I was with sports. If as a big Mets fan or Knicks fan, I remember the Knicks went to the finals, and then it was such a close game. 7 games they lost. I remember throwing my TV, and it's one of those smaller TVs, but I remember throwing it on the floor. But I was 18 at the time, and I was like, now it's like if they go, it's like I don't think that.
Yeah, like my father was a guy who it would just ruin his entire day.
Yeah.
It would ruin something. And we were Browns fans back then, so he would just like lose it, and it would ruin the entire day for everybody.
Oh man!
So it's like you can't do that. You can't like put everything. Again, if you're doing that, if you're putting everything in sports, maybe it's time to evaluate your life.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe I got to be, putting more effort into my own life and not trying to live vicariously through these teams.
Yeah. So that was 2004. And we'll fast forward, I guess, all the way to 2017, where they finally win the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And I know that was pretty recent, just less than 3 years ago.
Yeah.
So that had to be a fun time, them winning the whole thing. Where were you at the time when the Super Bowl
we
came
watched
around?
it at the Comedy Cellar.
So okay, nice.
The big screens at the Comedy Cellar. So we had a bunch of Eagles guys there. And a bunch of comics who were Eagles fans.
Yeah.
And then there was a bunch of obviously Boston comics there watching.
Oh, okay, yeah, watching this and the
we were watching.
cool, yeah.
And
then playing the Patriots again.
What's that?
I said, I'm playing the Patriots again. You're like, this might be
the Patriots again, and I mean the whole season was just a ride, man. It was exciting. So. But they got into that game, and the game itself it was just unbelievable. It was just unbelievable. I mean, that's why that kind of game, it's why you love sports.
Yeah.
Watch something like that, and it's like the underdog team with a backup quarterback.
Yeah, because Carson Wentz got hurt, so Nick Foles steps in, his second stint with the Eagles, and they pull it off.
They pull it off. They beat Tom Brady. They beat that defense. They beat Belichick, who are like the Apollo creeds of I hate to put everything in Rocky terms, but I'm going
but that's
but they're like the unbeatable, unstoppable, champions of the world, and the Eagles go in there and beat them, and it just was it's just exhilarating, man. That's why people love sports, because of stuff like that.
Yeah. Talk about how did you feel when Kevin Hart tried to get on the trophy
I thought
ceremony? I think it was great. Funny. As a fan, I would love to do that. I mean, he tried. He actually did it. He got close.
I get it, man. Absolutely. You want to be celebrating the team.
Yeah, and talk about I guess the Philly fans. They set the city on fire, basically, literally.
You know what? All I saw was what everybody else saw on the news. I wasn't there. I didn't go home for the parade or anything. Yeah. So it's like, but I heard it was. It had to be. It's wild anyway there for a game.
Yeah.
Like the winning of the Super Bowls had to be like, people had to be doing crazy shit.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Crazy shit. Well, speaking of shit, you saw the video where the guy ate some horse manure.
That's actually a normal thing in Philly.
Yeah.
That's
that wouldn't
actually
surprise
not
you.
that peculiar. You know, guys.
Yeah, that's the preseason loss. Somebody eats
Right.
a pile of shit. Yeah,
That's
but
fantastic though. What a win,
yeah, but
man.
yeah, and how long were you on a high? Just the rest of the night? The rest of the night was
I mean,
just
I was drinking, I was eating, it was all kinds of food there. It was fantastic, and so I just ate and drank all night, and then came
yeah,
home just full and drunk, and then went to sleep, man. It was
yeah,
just
and
it was. I celebrated down there though. I just celebrated down
yeah,
there and then took an Uber home, and it was just, I couldn't stop watching the they talk about it the next day so much. I just couldn't stop watching the coverage because I was like watching the coverage was like reliving it. So
no, absolutely, yeah. It's one of those things when your team wins the Super Bowl. It's the hardest accomplishment. It's not like the other sports, like the NBA. It's a series, and you play.
right.
Usually you play one game, and if you don't win the game, that's
Right.
it. If
But
and
I do like the drama of an NBA or an NHL. Like I'm not a big hockey guy, but
yeah,
I like the drama of the series too. I really do.
yeah.
It's really adds another element to it where it's like, well, they lost this one, but this isn't. It just
Yeah.
elongates everything, man. And
Yeah, we'll
I
get it
kinda
back.
like that.
Yeah, and it's a whole week, like a whole mini
Right.
series, a drama, which is also good. But like, yeah, I like when football, NFL, when a team wins the whole thing, it has to be a beautiful thing because it's just you got one shot basically, and
Yes.
that's that, man. So
Yeah.
yeah, good fun.
I love
Congrats on that. Now you can celebrate. It's like 2017, so like you can still pull it up. Like
Yeah.
we're in quarantine. I watch the Eagles again. So
Eagles game. I mean, that
yeah,
was an amazing. It was an unbelievable season, man, and it came down to like a shootout. Like no no defense could stop the other team, so
team.
it ended up being a shootout. So it was.
Yeah,
I mean, just fantastic, man. Just exciting.
yeah.
I mean, even if you're not a fan of the teams,
Team.
how
Yeah,
exciting was that game? That game was
yeah,
so exciting, man.
yeah. It's so close, and Philly pulled it off, man. Nick Foles. Who's your favorite? I guess Philly Eagles player of all time, or you don't really have one?
I don't know, Eagles player.
Mm.
I love McNabb. I thought McNabb was McNabb gave us so much to cheer for, man.
Yeah,
He was
and a
awesome.
staple there for a long time. Just like ups and downs. Yeah.
Yeah,
Really had a shot. Led him to a Super Bowl, didn't pull it off that time, but
right. But
yeah, McNabb's, yeah,
I thought he was great, man.
yeah,
I love
definitely a
McNabb.
staple, man. So that was good. All right, so let's get into some boxing talk. So whenever me and you get together, that's all we really
That's
talk
right.
about.
I
So
don't know how you feel. I don't know, like, but there's not that many fans out there. It's such
no,
it's
you're right.
It's a niche sport, you know.
Yeah, and it's a traditional. It's kind of like baseball, where it's like it's one of those old school sports. It's been around for thousands and thousands of years, and nowadays, like baseball, I don't like nobody cares about like young kids. Because as like you, I used to be in the school system too. No kid could care less about baseball nowadays. Baseball is not
Right.
the same, but boxing too. Boxing, I think people like that's why the movies do so well, like the Rocky movies or any movie that is made centering around boxing, because it's like, the analogies, like boxing analogies are used everywhere, right? It's
Right.
like all walks of life, but it hasn't, yeah, it does, it's still there, but it's not like, I think with the popularity of MMA taking
Right.
over, now it's like more like, oh, okay, this is better, but we still have our love for boxing. When did this love of boxing start for you?
It started like when I grew up. I was mostly a football fan. It's something me and my father bonded over because I played football, and then I was, we're all fans of college and pro football. But as I got older, my father started to gravitate towards. He always liked boxing with all the Tyson years and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, it's unbelievable. Like boxing was on the forefront. Everybody would watch the like a big fight, like a Tyson fight.
Fight, yeah.
Okay, but beyond Tyson, I don't know how many beyond the heavyweight division. I don't know how many boxing fans there were. But my father started to really get into like just watching, especially the lighter weights fight and Mayweather and these guys, and he's like, he was taken with it. You know, it drew him in, and I understand why. It's an unbelievable. It's not a team sport. It's an individual sport, and it's like you against yourself. You find out, like they say this on HBO. They used to say it on HBO. It's like you find out who the guy is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
you know what I mean. It's like not. It's a story that unfolds round after round, and you really find out who the guy is.
Yeah, sitting on that stool. Yeah, it's like sitting on that stool, sweating it out. See if they have the attrition, the war of attrition. Basically, it's
not only that. It's like it's interesting to see guys with different guys who are very slick and fast and a lot of movement. You have guys who are like Mexican style. They just come forward and they won't through your shots to get one off. It's interesting, and those are like, I mean, those are not to parallel it to death, but those are different approaches to life.
No, absolutely.
Slick and like, you know what I mean? Like whatever. And other guys are just straightforward.
Just punch through the wall.
You know, so it's like, it's kind of a parallel to people. And I do like that. And it's like, and then the whole life is a struggle. The fight is a struggle. It's you against other people, but it's mainly just you against yourself.
Yeah, boxing, it's like the analogy of, like you said, we use boxing analogies all the time. Right. It's like, all right, you got 2 minutes, you know, just get up. We are throwing the towel or what? You know what I'm saying?
It's the ultimate test. You know what I mean? Yeah. MMA is a combat sport too, and I love MMA. But like boxing it's such an old school thing, and I've talked to you many times about this. What's disappointing is it was corrupt back in the day by the mob in the like the 50s and 60s, and it's corrupt now. It's wild.
Oh yeah, it's never
and that kind of adds to the mystique of it. It's like you're taking something that's so pure, and the politics of it are so corrupt, and to watch those two, like you watch something that's so pure, and then you take man's way of the way they handle it. It ends up. It ends up like being a real sin. If you know the sport and you follow it, it ends up being you end up feeling bad for the fighters. The fighters are trying to do something so pure and real, and the politics of it, they manipulate it so much that it doesn't even. It's a shell of what it should be.
Like we can name like so many robberies we've seen, about like Pacquiao Bradley's one. I remember Paul Williams.
I actually don't think that was a robbery. I think that Bradley beat him.
You think what?
I really do. I think Bradley beat him. Because HBO did that thing where it's like they did a round that the judges scored for Bradley, but all of the commentators scored for Pacquiao, and they let you watch the round with the sound off.
Yeah, that's another thing. The sound could influence. I remember watching.
I watched the round. Like I never boxed. I'm just a fan, but I'm a fan. I'm a real fan. So I watched it. I'm like, Pacquiao would throw one punch, and Bradley would respond with two. I mean, land two. Like Pacquiao would throw a punch, and it was good. He would land it, but then Bradley would come back and throw two punches to Pacquiao's one punch, and it's like. I guess you're saying that Pacquiao's one punch is twice as effective as both of Bradley's response, because Bradley responded in every exchange. It wasn't like people were like, "Well, Pacquiao clearly won this round." I'm like, based on what? Based on what? His name? Like he didn't win the round. I think Bradley got a raw deal on that fight, and to prove it, I'll even prove that he won the fight. He beat Marquez. Bradley beat Marquez.
That's another one I got to watch
Marquez
over.
And Pacquiao were like, I mean, neck and neck. I mean, you know, I think it was 2 or 3-1 or 3-2 or something. Whatever I know he got knocked out. I know Pacquiao got knocked out in the last fight, but it was Pacquiao would always edge out Pacquiao would always edge out Marquez. It would seem, but they were very, very closely matched until that last fight where Marquez knocked him out. But Bradley beat Marquez.
Yeah, that's another fight I would have to watch over.
So Bradley is not like he was a world champion. He was underrated.
No, but I love Timothy. Timothy Bradley. I remember that fight against Porodnikov where he's just
Yeah.
taking all these shots.
Yeah.
I feel bad for Bradley because even though he won, he got his hand raised in the Pacquiao fight because most people thought he lost. He got like it really kind of tarnished. You know,
Yeah.
he wasn't booking a lot of fights.
Yeah.
So I think Paranikov.
It was bullshit the way that everybody went after him, and like,
Yeah.
you didn't win. It's like, first of all, how are you blaming him? He just went out there and fought his best fight. So why is everybody coming down on him? That's blame the judges, blame whoever, but don't blame Tim Bradley. He just went out there and fought him, in my opinion, a great fight. I thought he won the fight.
There's more of a based on effectiveness, like he just put like just the shots.
I mean, Pacquiao wasn't first. What is it? It's landed punches, and then the how the punches affect you, the strength, the strength of the punches. And I just felt like Pacquiao wasn't hitting him with more punches, and the punches weren't more effective, in my opinion. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like but I really do. I think that Tim Bradley won the fight, and I also think that who's the Australian kid where they fought in Pacquiao fought in Australia.
Oh, Jeff Horn.
I thought Jeff Horn won the fight narrowly.
Yeah, he got the decision. I think he was more.
Everybody was up and it seems
he was very aggressive. I remember him being very aggressive in that fight, coming forward and toward him. So I can see that decision coming.
It looked like a guy who was rugged. A guy who was rugged and mean in the ring with a guy who is a senator.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it looked like. A guy who's a senator who's like rich versus a guy who's really hungry. But I'm not downing Pacquiao. I think Pacquiao is unbelievable. But I'm just saying
Pacquiao's still ranked, by the way. He's like still top 10 on every list I've seen. He's still top 10.
Those are the examples of fights that I think that where the judges got it right and the media got it wrong. And there's other fights like the whole Canelo Triple G thing. I think is it.
Now talk about that. The first fight you thought Triple G definitely won.
I mean, right? I don't understand. And granted, like I've never boxed. I'm just a fan, but I watch the sport very closely. Yeah. You tell me that Canelo won that first fight. I don't even know what you're doing, dude. I don't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
He backed up the entire fight, and it wasn't like a Mayweather skillful circling.
No, definitely not. Nope.
He was in full retreat the entire fight. The entire the first couple rounds. No, he won the first. I think he won a couple of the earlier rounds, but the rest of the fight from like round 3 or 4 on, he was in complete retreat.
No, Triple G was rocking. Yep.
and he would only throw punches. He would only throw punches when he had to. So, and I'll tell you something else that I think the commentating on HBO
very biased. Did you want to say?
It all speaks to the corruption of the sport. It's corrupt on all levels. The HBO commentators, Canelo would back up and back up and back up, and Triple G would chase him, throwing punches. And then Canelo would respond with punches because, I mean, what else are you going to do? You're backing up and so finally Canelo responds. And instead of saying he finally responded, he'd been backing up the whole time, they go, oh, it's a change in momentum.
Yeah.
Where it's like you're using words. A change in momentum, a guy punching back finally is now a change in momentum. Do you see how that's like it changes, it shades the fight?
That's why it's good to watch certain fights with the sound off, because the commentary could be biased, especially when the networks are signed a deal to that certain fighter. It's like
they were both signed to HBO, but Canelo was brought more fans, more money.
Yeah,
it's the bottom line. So they're kind of talking. I mean, it's in his interest to win, according to the network and to money. You know what I mean? The money guy is Canelo, but it's not right to do what they did.
Oh, yeah, it's definitely
not. Got a wrong deal, whatever. It's like, that's important. It's important. You don't watch, no other sport accepts that. You don't watch football.
Yeah.
And in the last second,
yeah.
Like the wrong team wins and you go, you know what? I think we should be talking about the fact that it was a good game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? No one does that in football. Everybody
even in MMA, most of the time.
Robbery. no one goes, oh, it was a good game. Like, only in boxing, your standards are so low where you go, it was just a good fight. And that's what HBO was trying. They were trying to say it was just a good fight. It's like, hey, dude, like, you're fighting to win. The outcome is important.
Yeah. It changes the dynamics of everything. Because if somebody's
I'm not singling out HBO. There's a lot of other comments area who was like, no, Canelo won the fight. It's like, you're obviously, I don't know if you're related to Canelo or you're like, you're friends with his camp or, you know, whatever. But it's, for you to say that he won the fight is like, it's one of those things that if you tell me that he won that fight, the first fight, it ruins your credibility with me.
No, absolutely.
You know?
Yeah,
I thought Triple G won the fight 8 rounds to 4.
No, I scored it the same way. I think it was a close fight, but yeah.
8 rounds to 4. It's like, you couldn't give Canelo more than 4 rounds. And the guy who really calls it the right way, I find, like, it's most synonymous with what I think is Malignaggi.
Najee, I was about to say, Malignaggi might be one of it,
like, he not only calls it, he gives you his reasons, and he breaks it down so thoroughly, you're like, it's unbelievable. Like, guy's right. And I think the Canelo lost the second fight too, but it was closer.
It was closer. It was definitely closer.
Broke it down was so complete and so great. Like, I was like, I want that. I mean, the thing's got a lot of hits on YouTube. His breakdown of the second fight. But I mean, I think it should be that should be the narrative of that fight.
And Malignaggi probably helps because
Canelo fought better. He still didn't win.
No, I called that one a draw. You know, that second one, I called a draw. The first one, I thought Triple G definitely won. And if they do a third one though, Canelo annihilates him because Triple G that wear and that damage, and he's what, 38 now? He's too old. I can't see if they do a third one. I can't see Triple G pulling out, like, winning that one. And Triple G looked bad his last fight too. You remember his last fight he had?
Yeah, he did not look good. He did not. But they said it is because he was sick. I don't know if that's true. But the other guy came to fight. The other guy was exchanging.
Yeah.
So that was a very, very close fight. So I don't think it was I agree with Malignaggi. Like, I don't believe that the second fight, calling that a draw, would have been a robbery. But I think that Triple G won the fight. And
it's very debatable.
I guess it's debatable. But having Canelo win the fight, that didn't happen. You know.
What do you think about?
There's another thing that's going on in boxing that's that, again, no one talks about, but it's like drugs.
Oh yeah.
Guys using PEDs, and I think some guys are not using them, and I think those guys who are not using them are getting beat by the guys who are using them.
What about Floyd? You would think Floyd? No. Floyd just had.
I think Floyd never used. Floyd was a guy. That's why I think the whole Pacquiao Floyd thing. Everybody blamed Floyd for that, and you know, I love Pacquiao, but Floyd did not hold the fight up. He wanted, after they worked the money out, he was like, okay, the only thing left is, like, you need to take an Olympic style drug test.
Yeah,
because he suspected that Pacquiao was on drugs, so he's like, you can take an Olympic style drug test.
It's very suspicious, you know, fighting 8 different weight classes.
And Pacquiao was like, no, he refused to take the test. So that's why the fight was delayed for years. Yeah, it was delayed for years because he refused to take a blood test.
Yeah, and 5 years down the line, if it was supposed to go down when it's supposed to go down, do you think the fight would have been? Well, the fight I think would have been closer. I still would have gave it to Floyd because nobody can hit Floyd.
Well, look at it would have been interesting to see because Pacquiao had to be clean for that fight. I believe Pacquiao was on some performance enhancing drugs for most of his career. I believe that because you don't become there's no eight division world. Like, what do you think? I'm stupid?
And he's the only guy that done it. He's the only guy that did it. Yeah.
Come on. You started at 108. You're knocking out guys at 154. Are you? What do you think? What do you think is going on?
Yeah, it's very I don't disagree. It's very, because a lot of, like, you're not the only one I've talked to about it, and I'm like, I don't know, you know. But
I think Floyd was just very, like, he was smart, and but if you would the fight be any different? Again, look at Mayweather Marquez.
Yeah, the first coming out of retirement. Basically, he wiped him. No, I said
Okay.
that's the fight Floyd came out of retirement, and
Right.
then and he
Came out of retirement to fight Marquez, who was just cleaning house.
yeah.
And what happened? He couldn't touch
It wasn't.
him.
Didn't touch him.
You know what I mean?
Didn't touch him. Yeah.
So if you look common opponents wise, it's not. I mean, Mayweather beat him like 8 rounds to 4.
Oh yeah.
He beat Marquez.
Probably more than that.
It's like I don't think it was. I don't think it would have been close.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
No.
What do you think Floyd's toughest fight was? I'm pretty. We talked about it personally, but
yeah. Julio Luis Castillo.
Castillo was the first. I remember that's a debate. ESPN just had a debatable decisions whole series on where they did, and the first Mayweather Castillo fight was extremely
it was
debatable.
A decision. They said that Castillo won the fight.
Yeah,
they were saying also that, and this is not an excuse. I'm not making excuses, but Mayweather like hurt his hand or hurt his shoulder or something.
Yeah,
but to Mayweather's credit, he goes immediately. Let's run it back.
Yeah,
let's do it next.
Let's do it again. Yeah,
let's do it right now. Let's do it next.
Yeah.
And then he separated himself in that next fight. So it's like, but I really with the fight Corrales, that was my favorite.
Diego Corrales,
Diego Corrales in 2000.
Rest in peace,
Diego Corrales.
Yeah,
it was at, I think the fight was at 135. Corrales is the champion at 135. Mayweather's champion at 130. He moves up to 135. They're both undefeated. Yeah. It's a huge fight. It's a huge fight at the time because Mayweather was underdog.
Yeah.
And Corrales is this guy like stronger, more powerful, whatever. And Mayweather goes in there and just, I mean, the fight is just, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable the way he takes him apart, you know? And no, Corrales is unbelievable. He's an unbelievable fighter. And his fight with Castillo was one of the, I mean, in my opinion, the best fight I've ever seen.
Wow. Even Castillo Corrales won. Oh yes.
It's better than, and I'm a big fan of Gotti, the Gotti Ward.
The Gotti Ward trilogy, yeah.
I'm a huge fan of those fights. Castillo Corrales is the greatest fight I've ever seen in my life. It's the greatest fight.
That's the fight. If nobody watched boxing before, that's the fight I point to. All right, go to YouTube. I'm like, yeah, that's the fight.
The fight. I show it to people like sports teams, like pro sports teams, were requesting to get copies of the fight to show their teams.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Just that comeback is ridiculous.
First of all, the fight was great. The fight was unbelievable.
Yes.
The tenacity of both guys, because I guess Corrales was like, the option was because he was a longer guy, you know, he was going to jab him from the stay outside. Because Castillo was so great on the inside. Both of them were great on the inside.
Yeah.
Corrales had range. He could have just stayed at range. But instead of that, he decides to fight him on the inside. And that, they just stood in a phone booth, and it was mind blowing.
No holding.
The ending.
Yeah, it's just he knocked him out in the 10th, right? Corrales, like.
It was a 10th round. Yeah. Sometimes I'll just watch that round. Sometimes I'll just
because it's a comeback, one of the most unbelievable comebacks.
He gets knocked down. How many times? 2. He gets knocked down twice. Knocked down, spits his mouthpiece, gets penalized. Spits his mouthpiece out on the second time. They put it back in, and Castillo attacks him, and then Corrales he stays poised in the pocket, but hits him with the shot. And you can see his head. You can see his head fly back, and then he starts attacking him, and then the referee stops the fight. And there's no controversy about the stoppage. It was a good stoppage.
No, it was a great stoppage. Yeah, they were bludgeoning each other. It's one of my favorite fights. Like I said, that's the fight I point to. If you're not a boxing fan, watch this, and you might become one. It's definitely good.
Unreal. Yeah. And I gotta say, my favorite referee is Jack Reese.
Jack Reese, good. He's very good.
The best, man. He's the best. He's the best.
Comes in.
A guy will get knocked down, and he'll give the guy every opportunity to get up and fight. Like, he'll give him
ask him, "Are you okay?" Like, all right, walk to me. Does everything by the book, And yeah, excellent ref. There's no,
But some guys are like, are they too afraid? They're and I understand it too because somebody's life is in your hands.
yeah.
So they're too afraid to let it go, like whatever. He really takes his time and assesses,
yeah.
and sees, and if the fight can continue, he'll let the fight continue. Like he'll just be like, no, it'll continue. I like that, and I also like Andre Ward was coming off his layoff, and he fought.
Yeah, that's another fight I wanted to talk to. The first Ward Kovalev fight. I mean, that was another one.
I'm a huge Andre Ward fan.
Yeah, probably the best boxer. Like after Mayweather, best probably. I mean, heavier.
I love his philosophy of life. I think he's I'm a huge Ward fan. I love
the Super 6 tournament. That's one of my favorite tournaments too. Yeah, it was great. But
he's unbelievable. He's unbelievable. Massively underrated. That being said, I thought Kovalev won the first fight.
Yeah, he did. I felt that. Ward, he knocked out Ward in the second. Knocked down Ward in the second round, if I'm not mistaken.
I mean, Ward's the way he came back.
Yeah.
I mean, it's emotional the way he got up and came back. Like I love that. You know what I mean? Yeah. And that being said, I still think Kovalev won the fight. But
he did.
I mean, the way that Ward got up off the canvas and then refused to and Malignaggi has this he has this 10-minute thing where it's asking about the fight after he breaks it down so completely. Sometimes I listen to it before I work out. Like it fires you up so much. It's like you're knocked down in the second round. Everybody's cheering. Everybody's on their feet. The guy who you know is a killer is across the ring, ready to give you some more. It's the second round. You got to see this guy, and it's like in that moment you have to get up, you have to gather your thoughts, and you have to go forward. It's crazy, and it's another incredible parallel for life. You know what I mean? You get knocked down, and everything seems to be going against you, and you have to compose yourself. And the way he composed himself and put himself back in that fight is, I mean, it's unbelievable. That's
another thing. For stuff another thing with Ward, they questioned the low blows. He threw a couple of them. I don't know, but that was another questionable. It was like
I said, I don't think he did enough to win that first fight, but I think that the comeback that he put into play it's just, I mean, that guy's a true champion, man.
And he showed him in the second fight because that second Ward, it wasn't even a contest. Ward demolished him.
He came out just mentally.
Just mentally. Fought on the inside, just stayed in the pocket and just picked them apart. And it changed Kovalev's life. Kovalev was never the same again. And that was it for
Kovalev's a guy. Kovalev's a guy super talented, and I think what I like about Kovalev, super talented, and I think just a mean guy.
Yeah,
I don't say that because it doesn't make you sellable, but I think he's probably just a mean guy.
Yeah,
and I actually like that, but I don't think I don't know if it's how invested in training. Like there's been reports that sometimes he has his own mind what he wants to do. He doesn't listen to his training staff as much. He has in his own mind what he wants to do. He's stubborn, doesn't listen. So, but I like Kovalev because I just think he's like a guy. And there's guys like that. There's guys who are like Sugar Ray Leonard who are like charismatic and everybody
loves them.
There's guys who are like, there's guys who are like just mean, genuinely mean.
Just brutes.
I think Crawford is another guy like that.
Vicious.
He's a nice,
vicious.
He's a nice guy. Whatever.
Here's another thing we talk about.
Can I get an autograph or something? He's a nice guy. But if you talk shit to him, he'll fucking punt. He'll
rip your face off. I believe that. Another fight we was talking about being made was Crawford versus Spence. I wasn't big on Spence after that Porter showing, but after and then Crawford. I think Crawford whoops his ass.
I think Porter is. I think Porter's an underrated guy too because
he is. He's always he's in every fight he fights.
He's in every fight.
He has a style. He's very pesky.
I went to the Danny Garcia Porter fight. I saw the Danny Garcia Porter fight, and Danny Garcia is I was just saying he's a better boxer.
Yeah, definitely
he's a better boxer. He is, but he didn't win. Sean just is like a come forward, throw the kitchen sink at you type guy.
Yep.
And he's awkward, he's awkward style. So it's not pleasing to look at, and he's not a better pure boxer than Danny Garcia, but he just wills himself. He's in the ultimate shape, and he's tough.
Yeah.
And he'll just come forward with that awkward style, and he'll like throw a lot of punches. And if you don't throw more punches than him, like Danny's whole thing was, Danny's like a guy who just stays in the pocket and counters. Like he's unbelievable.
Yeah.
He's unbelievable.
Very good with that.
Yeah. So, but I'd like to see everybody fight everybody. I don't think Spence's performance in that fight was bad. I just think Porter's performance.
Yeah, Porter. I guess more people take away that Porter is that good. He's good enough. He'll stay in every fight. Yes. I thought with Porter versus Thurman, I went to that one, and that was a close fight too.
Close.
Very close. At the end of the day, I see why Thurman won. But every person I talked to that was there just had a different. Oh, I was sitting in section such and such, and I thought Porter won. Or I was sitting here, I saw Thurman. There's so many different nuances of boxing that makes you.
I think all those top welterweights, it's if one of them wins, it's a 115, 113.
Yeah,
it's
definitely.
Close, man.
It's very close.
So close.
Yeah,
Danny Garcia, Keith Thurman, Sean Porter, and Errol Spence. Errol's, I think, the top guy, but I think the division, he's a top guy in a loaded division.
Yeah, that's the welterweights. Well, have been for like maybe the last 10 years. Now, what do you think about heavyweight boxing now? Because heavyweight boxing is kind of making a comeback. I think like with Wilder, Fury, and the whole, and Anthony Joshua. We can talk about the first Wilder Fury fight. That was a close one.
Yeah, that was close.
Yeah.
But Wilder has a thing where it's like he just relies on his power.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. There's no skill. There's no skill.
Unbelievably skilled. Yeah. But he relies on his power so much where he'll be like, and I'm rooting for him. I'm rooting for him.
I like Wilder too.
The other guys are Brits, man.
Yeah.
I'm rooting for Wilder.
Yeah.
But it's like they'll fall behind on points.
Yeah.
And you'll be like, oh my God, now he's put such pressure on himself to knock these guys out. And he can do it.
Yeah.
He's got the power to do it. But if you get up against somebody what's his name? Fury got up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fury got up. People say it's controversial.
And then they get up. It's like,
yeah. Was Reese the referee on that one too?
Yeah.
Because it was like David said, the count, that's everybody's angle. Like, oh, he didn't get up.
Again, rooting for Wilder. I'm rooting for Wilder in that situation. But I do think that he got up. And that was right. The call was the right call.
And Fury, I think he did run a clinic. Those first rounds, just jab, just killing him, like just really outboxed him. And
I thought that, he did. I guess he won. I guess he did win the first fight, but the second fight was. I mean, it was more.
Oh my God, that was a.
I mean, he would lean on him. He was leaning on. He was just like. I mean,
Fury came in much heavier.
What's that?
Fury came in much heavier.
Hats off to him for like taking the fight to him. No, everybody does the opposite and tries to like run away from Wilder.
Milk it out, run away.
He just took the fight to him. He took the fight to him, and it was impressive. I mean, it was impressive, even though again,
he mauled him. Yeah, he mauled him. Just had him pinned down. Every I wouldn't say dirty, but just very tactical, just smothering him on the inside, and Wilder couldn't figure it out. He was like, it was like he looked. That's the worst I've seen Wilder like.
Yeah, and I guess he was in good enough shape to do it. So, but hopefully Wilder will come back, and who knows? I'd like to see everybody fight, and I'd like to see him in this decade. You know how boxing is. I'd like to see Joshua and Wilder. I'd like to see Wilder and Fury.
Yes, we like it. Yeah. Now Joshua would.
I'd like to see the other heavyweights too. Like there's a couple.
There's Usyk. Well, Usyk's like what, a super cruiserweight? He's like heavier than everybody.
Just went up.
Yeah,
he went up to heavyweight. So I'd like to see him.
Oh yeah, he's a cruiser. Yeah, Usyk was a guy. Yeah, I always, me and my brother talk boxing a lot too. So that's a guy that always comes up. He's a big heavyweight guy. So like Usyk always comes up on our radar when we talk about boxing.
Right.
But yeah, there's a lot of guys I would like to see in that heavyweight come up. So
but I mean boxing like everything else in the quarantine, it's like kind of like, I mean, It's so funny to watch these sports talk shows try to
talk about nothing. It's like
shows with no sports.
Yeah, can't do it. That's why
they're making up like how many times can you talk about is LeBron better than MJ?
MJ, yeah, that's especially with that the Last Dance documentary that came out.
Historical arguments now, though.
Yeah, it's insane. It's too much.
Yeah,
now
that documentary was unbelievable, by the way.
No, it was great. I watched. Yeah, we all watch it. I think that's what kind of inspired me to do the show. We're in quarantine now. If quarantine didn't happen, that was supposed to air in June. That Last Dance, because the playoffs would have been on. Right. So it would have aired in June. I don't think it would get the buzz, but since there, like you said, there's no sports, so that like everybody was watching it. But it was unbelievably done. I think
it was done, and I like the fact I like them pulling back the curtain on, because Jordan had such a image, such a great image. Good looking, rich. Like everybody loves the charming superhero. Everybody loves him. Everybody loves a charming winner. But like I like that pulls back a little bit on how the sausage is made, and people are not willing to accept. Hey, this guy's a little bit of a dick. Like, he's a dick. Like you could see he's a dick. Like, yeah.
That's how you have to be.
Like, how do you think he won 6 championships? That's not just being good. You have to have that extra thing.
Yeah. I definitely have to have that killer instinct. Yeah.
You're a killer, and it's like an obsessive thing. And people they want to kind of go, oh, that's too much. It's like, yeah, too much is how you become a 6-time world
NBA champion. Yeah. It's like, it's you have to be like, you have to be. It's like you're like a boss, you know what I'm saying? It's like, this needs to get done right here. I need to light a fire in your ass, just like, when a boxer with his trainer has to, like, he has to do something. He just can't be like, all right, you'll get him next time.
But it's almost like people want one thing without the other. They want the narrative that you're a nice, sweet, whatever, great guy. And it's like, I'm sure he is a great guy, you know what I mean? But there's that other side that's vicious and dark, and people don't like that. People will go, that's that kind of I think that's what got him the result.
Well, would you rather have Michael Jordan be a murderer or killing or raping people? Can't make everyone happy. It sucks, man. Now I know we also debate about what that fight, the Floyd Conor McGregor fight. I know for me it was fun. My brother still won't watch it to this day because he's like, like one of those boxing purists.
No, I understand why.
Yeah, but it was a fun fight. What did you think about like watching that fight?
It's kind of like I thought a great payday for those guys. Obviously, it was great.
Oh, absolutely, it's like, a lot of money made.
Yeah, I mean it's great, but it's like there's guys coming up who are really good fighters who I think should be getting attention.
Yeah, that was anybody that should fight. But I think at this day and age, like Floyd would at this point, he's like, I think, if he fights Crawford, I think Crawford beats him. Like if he fights, certainly I mean beat him, but like, it would because of the age, there's a step, you know what I'm saying? He can't take and Floyd's all about making his money.
Right. I understood what he was doing. And I gotta say, like I like McGregor. I like McGregor too. But
I do too.
The way Floyd, first of all, the way they both handled the promotion is on. You need that. You got
four city tour. I went to the one in the Barclays Center with the tour, and the fan feel like the Irish, his countrymen just coming out. It was sold out, and this is a tour to promote the fight. It was like people. I know a guy that's like I happen to get lucky enough and log on Ticketmaster and get a free ticket. Where somebody told me it's like, yo, I paid $200 just to be here. Insane. Yeah.
So I understand monetarily they had to do it, and both of them talking trash was great. And I thought Conor came in shape, like like he was ready to go. But like just the realities of limited boxing skill versus a guy who's a master at it.
And probably the best to have it.
In other words, you get people to pay for the fight. So you have to get that. You have to promote it up to get people to pay for the fight. Now, after people pay for the fight, you want them to feel like they got their money's worth. So Conor did his job and got in good shape and, you know, did the best job he could preparing. But that's just like a straightforward fighter thing. You do the best you can to prepare, take the fight. What Floyd had to do was much harder, I thought.
Oh, yeah.
He had to figure out how to fight this guy where people would get their money's worth. But he would still win. But people would get their money's worth and walk away feeling like they got a good deal, like they didn't get gypped.
Yeah, that pay-per-view was like $100. The first, I think, $100 pay-per. I think Pacquiao was $100 maybe too. No, I don't think, maybe 80 or 90, but like I know McGregor was $100. So if somebody plopped down $100,
you don't want people feeling ripped off. You want people to get their money. So, I mean, me personally, I've watched almost all of Floyd's fights. So, have you ever seen Floyd fight that way?
No, he came out. Never. He didn't come out in the shoulder roll stance. He came in with his hands up.
I've seen him fight that way ever.
Never.
Ever. In any moment, in any fight, he's never fought that way. So what he did was he just put his gloves up and walked. He wasn't moving. He just walked forward with his gloves up, catching his punches, and then firing back. So he did that and let Conor like show him what he had.
Absolutely.
He was great. and win, like he was winning rounds. And then when he got tired, you know, which you'll do if you're not used to boxing, then he put the pedal down and knocked him out. So everybody got what they wanted. Conor had a good showing. The fight lasted 10 rounds. Mayweather got the win, and it wasn't like Conor. You could argue that Conor was winning the fight on points, but I think that was all carefully constructed.
It was beautiful because the 10th round when he knocked out Conor, Conor got caught by the ref, so it didn't make Conor look bad at all. Like, because you know, if he fell on the canvas, there'll be memes and he would never live that down. So Conor didn't look bad at all.
Yeah, but I mean, if Floyd just would have wanted to win the fight, like, it would have been a much different. Second,
third round. Probably knockout.
My point is that he's never fought that way ever. So people go, oh, Conor really gave him, like. Have you ever seen
Floyd fight that way? If you never watch, that's good because you got a lot of crossover fans, a lot of MMA guys like, oh, this Floyd Mayweather guy sucks.
I like MMA. I do like MMA also, but it's like, have you ever seen him fight that way? Never, ever. Even in moments of fights, I've never seen him fight that way.
Nope.
So fighting in a certain way, I think. Again, give people their money's worth. Conor has a good showing. Mayweather gets the knockout, and the fight goes 10. All those things are necessary.
Oh man, all those things. It was a perfect. It was just a beautiful recipe of everything. Everybody, like you said, everybody got their money's worth. Conor didn't look bad. Floyd didn't look bad. The ref didn't look bad. Everybody in the audience got their money's worth.
The MMA community is arguing like he's better. He was better.
Yeah, he could be a boxer.
Look at the way he hung in there for 10 rounds, and then and then Floyd still with the decisive. So, but my point is to make that all happen. That was all on Floyd's shoulders to make that happen.
Absolutely,
that was all on him.
Yeah, beautiful. And then they hugged it out after. Everybody got like $300 trillion, and we went home
walking away rich from that. Both guys walking away.
Where were you when that fight went down?
I was at the New York Comedy Club.
Okay, so you watched. They played it. Gotcha, yeah. Because one of the fights, Mayweather Pacquiao still has the record for the highest grossing pay-per-view.
Right.
And I thought McGregor would beat it, but I think there was a difference between 2015 and 2017 where more people stream illegally now, where you can probably like go on a YouTube, go on like a Facebook Live and catch it. And if somebody gets booted out that, if it gets knocked out, you can find other ways to watch it. So with 2015 with May Pac, it was like, now did you watch that fight live or did you?
I watched it pay-per-view. We watched it pay-per-view. We had a big part, like in my parents' house. They bought the fight.
Oh man,
we all watched it. We had friends over, family over.
Yes.
We watched that fight, and I mean, it didn't live up to expectations.
It definitely did.
I don't think it's again. I'm not. I like Mayweather. I'm a Mayweather fan.
Me too.
I don't think it was because everybody blamed Mayweather for that. It's like That wasn't
no.
Mayweather was the defensive guy. It was on.
He did his job. He did his job. Yeah. No, it was like I said, it was 5 years too late. I went to Vegas to the fight. I couldn't afford tickets, but me and my wife went to Vegas, and we had, since no hotel were showing the fight on pay-per-view, you had to watch it in one of the hotel theaters. So if like, so like the Golden Nugget or one of those major strip hotels were showing it in their theaters, and the tickets were like $1.50 a pop. Wow. So I had to, so we bought 2 tickets. It was like being there because the whole like fans that couldn't get in, and the buzz on Vegas. I've never been to Vegas before. That's my first time in Vegas, and just the buzz on the strip, the buzz during the fight was amazing. It was just a celebration of boxing for me, because as a boxing fan, when boxing gets that much attention, it's really fun. It's really fun for everybody. Everybody gets in. Right. You see all these guys just like hanging out and selling shirts and just having a good time. And then walking by the strip by the MGM Grand, and you see like celebrities come out leaving the fight, and like everybody's like, it was probably the most fun I personally had.
That's amazing. But here's my I wish like Spence Crawford would get that kind of buzz.
I hope so, but it doesn't.
Fight, but it wouldn't be.
Nobody, me and you would care. Me and you would be the only one.
Those guys both deserve it.
Yeah, they definitely do.
Because they're not making up, like, just because they're not as theatrical as Mayweather.
Yeah,
I don't think that. I think those guys still, the skill level is so high. Those guys deserve that, and they deserve that kind of adulation from fans. Those guys deserve it because their skill level is through the roof.
Yeah, I think Wilder Fury got a lot of buzz this last fight. I think it got a lot of big coverage. This is the biggest fight I think since Mayweather Pacquiao that got so much coverage, and it really tried. I remember calling. I think you were in LA, and I was at the movie theater, and it was but it was just like it was just the space of being like a lot of people were there. We're all yelling, screaming, talking shit, and it was just a fun time. I mean, even though Wilder got decimated, it was just like just that vibe when boxing's the center of the sports world for that one night. It was just
But I
just
think
beautiful.
all high level fight, I think all fights like Ward Kovalev, both those fights, they deserved. I mean, they were big fights.
Yeah, that was a big deal. Yeah,
Super Bowl type accolade. Those guys are both at the highest level, and it deserves those guys deserve more money and deserve Super Bowl level type billing, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But other stuff will win out over it just because of it's like, I don't know, maybe it's to me I compare it a lot to comedy too, where it's like you have a guy who's like is good but hasn't broken through.
Yeah.
Other people who've broken through
just and kind of leapfrogged over the people that grinded out, going to mics, being in the being in the clubs till 1, 2 in the morning, doing shit shows, and then it's like you said, boxing is an analogy of life. And
but I mean, when I'm watching, like, I care about the skill level.
I do too.
I care about. So if you have a guy with a great backstory but no skills, like, why am I watching this? Because this guy's bad. I don't care about it. Like, when the fight actually happens, it's going to be a slaughter. Like, what I mean? Like, I don't care. What I want to see is I want to see their stories too. What I think they should do is I think they should do a 24/7 for every fight.
Yeah, at least one.
I mean,
HBO used to do that. They'll have like a 20. It was like, Mayweather was the guy to carry it. You had a series where most HBO fights, I remember like 20, they would do like, a mini, like 15 to 20 minute on each fighter. And then you would watch, and because I always made it a priority watch. They don't really do that now because boxing's so different. Gone are the days where you would order a pay-per-view. Now you got DAZN, which is a streaming. Everything's a streaming service now. Unless it's a big level fight like Fury and Wilder. That's the only exception.
But I think they should have documentaries of each guy in training camp and their story, and people once you see some of these stories, they're unbelievable. They're
unbelievable.
Nothing.
Nothing.
Your heart and will and what they've been through in their actual lives and what they've overcome, and then being able to get into the ring. And then so you get their whole story, and it makes you more invested in the fight just personally.
That's what happened for me with Mayweather Mark.
And you're like, even if you're not a boxing fan, after seeing their stories,
yeah, it's like I gotta root for this guy.
I mean, you're like, this is unbelievable. I have to. Now I'm invested in this.
Yeah.
So I don't understand why they don't just do that with every fight all the time. Yeah. And the fact of the matter is, like, well, people don't say people will catch on.
Yeah.
Like, people will catch on.
I remember Mayweather Guerrero, and they focused on Robert Guerrero's backstory, where his wife is a cancer survivor, and her taking hit. That was like, yeah, that was well, because he was in that spotlight now, he's a Mayweather fight. And when you get a Mayweather fight, that's like you won the lottery, basically.
Right.
So if that, if that happens, like the eyes are on you. But like the guys the minimal fighters that you don't get to see, I agree with you. There should be more coverage on their personal life. Because
I want to see, if that was the case, I would do nothing but watch their stories and
stories.
That's all I do. I watch their stories and the fights, the stories and the fights, the stories and the fight. And then the aftermath. Yeah. Like, I love those things.
Yeah.
The after story. I like that. I like all the whole thing. The whole thing is a story. You know what I mean? Like, you're watching a story and you're watching it unfold. It's
a beautiful thing. Yeah. So what do you think about Tyson making a comeback, so-called comeback? You see, he's back. Yeah, he's my favorite. He's the reason why I got into boxing. Yeah, just seeing him ripping off heads.
Everybody acknowledges him as the best. Like, he's the best, but for him to come back now, I think is wildly dangerous.
I think what he's going to do, maybe like a butterbean, 4 rounds or 3 rounds or 2 rounds, just be just be like an attraction more than an actual contender. He's not fighting Fury.
I mean, maybe to make money, but I think he's making money. He's got that cartoon.
He's doing.
He's got his podcast. Like, I don't know why he would need to do it.
Mike Tyson probably has the best story. And you talked about like how Jordan, he thinks he's a dick. Like Mike Tyson, uneducated guy from Brownsville, Brooklyn, one of the worst. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And you've seen the interviews back then, how savage he was, how he came up, and then to turn that all around. Amazing. Like, I went to his one-man show and then met him afterward. One of the highlights. Oh, you went too? Okay. Yeah, that was. I stayed around and waited for him. He autographed my playbill and just wanted it nice. Very he seems like at this point of his life, you won't hear any shit from him anymore. As far he's like at a point in his life where he's just happy, getting all these opportunities outside of the fight game and just being respected by all forms of from MMA, pro wrestling, everybody clamors to, Mike Tyson, and just like being in movies like The Hangover, that helps his popularity. And he has one of the best stories, and he looks like one of those guys. Like, if
his story was, he had a great story because he came literally, like, people usually have one parent, coming from a single mother. He literally had nobody. Literally was to the streets until he was picked up by,
Customato.
The juvenile system went to that boxing gym in the Catskills in Customato. But it's an unbelievable story. But he was, a phenomenon. I don't know how old you are, but I was alive for that. I was
we're around the time. I'm a little bit younger.
And it was like a phenomenon. It was nothing anybody had ever seen.
Nothing, knocking out people in first, second round.
Do you remember heavyweight champion winning the world title at 20? Just insane.
Yeah. Do you remember there were one point where they were charged? I forgot what fight it was. I want to say maybe Bruce Seldon, but there was one fight where they were charging per round because the fight happened. People's problem was the fights. You leave to go get something. You come back, and what happened? Fight's over.
Yeah.
So it's like,
the MMA does a good job with that. The MMA does a good job because they know there's a possibility of a fast knockout or a fast stab. So they just stack it with undercards that are.
That's the difference. Undercards in boxing are they're not really stacked. There's never a double co-main event unless it's some you and I will go we went to a couple Lomachenko fights. We would know the guys. Yeah, we would know the guys before that because as boxing fans, we know. But other guys were who is the people sitting at home will be I don't know who that is. Why would I watch it? That's why when you watch boxing pay-per-views, you don't see the seats filled until the fights, the main event starts. So with With MMA, it's different because the fights are shorter. So the cards have to be stacked. So, because you get your money's worth. I think that's the construction of boxing is just because the fights are like average fight could be like maybe an hour if it goes to the distance.
Yeah, but sometimes they have like in the prelims they have like a like an 8-round or a 4 like whatever.
Or 10, yeah. It all depends.
It's shorter.
Yeah, like I remember like Triple G.
Has to be a 12-round.
Yeah, I remember Triple G had a couple of fights at the Garden that I went to, and what's her name would be on the undercard all the time. Chocolatito, Roman Gonzalez.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, and then actually I think one of the fights where his first loss, and we were like, oh shit, yeah, he was. I remember I was big on Chocolatito, and then just.
No, that fight was crazy. I mean, the first fight, I thought, I mean, that could have gone either way.
Yeah.
But Rungasai was the guy's name.
Yeah, sorry. He has a very complicated name. SSR, I call him.
That fight was, I mean, I think like after the 8th round, one of those later rounds, like they had to check. They were hitting each other so hard and so often that I think after the 8th round, they had to check, like doctors had to check both fighters. Like they flashing lights just to make sure. Like,
they took no more damage.
Nothing happened. It was like, they were like, nobody can endure this. Like we have to like make sure that you're okay.
Yeah, it was a bloodbath, man.
Well, it was unreal.
Yeah. So, yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. I believe that those guys are like, it's a disservice to especially the lighter weights like that. Like those guys are just such fucking warriors and so skilled. I think they deserve the adulation, the same adulation as the heavyweights, man. I really
but I
even a guy like Mikey Garcia, it's like he's going right now to fight people. It's like
Spence owned him. Spence really took he was done after Spence. Mikey looked like shit.
Well, no, it's not that he looked like shit. I don't think he looked like shit. I just think that he's like, you're the king of your division.
Just stay there.
That division. It's like he's just bigger and like, I mean, good for Mikey not being knocked out, but like, I mean.
And a good payday for him because it was pay-per-view. So pay-per-view, you had to get a payday, man. A lot of these guys feed their family.
I'd like to see better matchups too. I'd like to, and you'll get them once in a while with the current system.
Yeah,
but, I really think they should throw out all the promoters. I think of the WBC, all these licensing bodies.
Do you think it should be more like UFC with like Dana White? There's just one umbrella. Work here. And just like, all right, you fight him, and if you don't fight him, you know what I'm saying? Hey, what you gonna do?
Don't fight him. You sit. You're out. You sit. It's like there's one commissioner who sets the fights. Now that being said, I think like in boxing they get paid more because of the system. So
that's the thing.
I think the fighters should get paid more. So I don't know if it's a union system, some kind of thing where it's like. The average, not the top fighters. The top fighters are making the money.
Oh yeah, absolutely. They're fine.
Average fighters
really do. They still have a day job.
Making more money,
Yeah, I remember Luis Collazo fought Andre Berto, and he lost a close one to him. And Luis Collazo, I think he still drives a bread truck or something like that.
Yeah.
So when you hear stories like that, I mean, unless I don't know if it's Collazo's own business, or he's like, yeah, this is fine. But like, if that's his job, then I'm like, well, shit, I don't want to do this anymore. Good, Collazo's great. Yeah, a lot at the down end of some decisions. Same with Erislandy Lara.
I thought he fought Ricky Hatton. Yeah, I could be mistaken, but I think he fought Ricky Hatton and like won the fight, but they gave it to Hatton.
Yeah,
it was a robbery, but and I think Hatton's good, but he lost the fight to Collazo.
Yeah, he's always at the bad end of decisions. Just same as Erislandy Lara.
Yeah.
Remember he fought Canelo? That was a close one. Paul Williams, I remember that fight, and Lara clearly won. And then Paul Williams got his hand raised. That was one of another big robbery.
He has that boring Cuban style.
Yeah, like it doesn't you can't sell him. You can't sell Lara. That's the thing.
No, you can't sell him. But his skill level is like
very high.
Skill level is so very high. So I would like to see him. I'd like to see him fight Triple G. I'd like to see him fight I'd like to see him fight the Charlos.
Yeah, that's another guy. That Charles Harrison trilogy, that was a close one.
I like that. And I Tony Harrison. Like, those guys, they're gritty, tough, and they're Americans too. Like I like the Americans. So those guys are Americans and they're tough. So, but I want to see them fight everybody. I want to see them fight like the highest level of competition all the time. And I understand that. I understand it's difficult, but I think the documentary angle and the promotion of it that way would get more people invested in it. But I think all the WBC, WBA, IBF, they're all corrupt. So I say get rid of them, and I say get rid of the promoters, one umbrella, and then and
hopefully they get paid. Drug test
everybody.
Hopefully they get paid.
It's mandatory before and after drug test.
Yeah, because you can kill somebody at the end of the day.
You can kill somebody, but it's not even like the Triple G Canelo thing. Like Canelo tested positive. Okay, so it's like we don't know who the actual before that Triple G was undefeated and maybe the best middleweight in history, Marvin Hagler. But he's arguably the best middleweight in history. But because of this,
cleaning out the division,
bad judging and corruption, because of this, now it's like, oh, he lost. It's like, first of all, did he even lose really? And second of all, it's like, are we drug testing? It's like, if this was baseball, there'd be Senate.
Oh yeah, there'd be a cry, like, hey.
This would be like the government would be involved in it.
Yeah, a lot of it's crazy.
But the fact of the matter is, we'll never know that. Now we'll never know who was the best. We'll never know.
Yeah, that's why I say Floyd's probably the best. Just nobody could touch him, and he had the right style because he could walk away from the fight.
He did a very smart thing. Like at the end, when he had power, obviously he couldn't do it when he didn't have power. But when he had power, he's like, okay, you want to fight me? You're getting an Olympic-style drug. He made sure that no one was on drugs when they fought him, like a level playing field. And if people didn't understand that, they're like, "Oh, you're just making excuses." Whatever.
No, my life. It's my life. You're not going to come in there and knock me out and just leave me.
Well, in my opinion, like Triple G should have after at least the first fight, he still had all the belts. He still had all the belts. It was called a draw. He won the fight, but he still had all the belts. In my opinion, he should have been like, okay, you want a rematch? We got to take a drug test. Yeah. Because in between those two, he tested positive. So
So it's like
an Olympic-style blood test in order to fight.
Random. Yeah, somebody comes at your door every other training session, like, yep, let's get that sample.
He should have been like, and take it out of the purse.
Take it, anything, take it out.
It's important to have like a level playing field when especially when the stakes are that high. It's like the stakes are, you have all the belts and there's no blemish on your record. You got ripped off the first time in Las Vegas, and now you're going to fight again, and you've agreed to fight in Las Vegas again. It's like, the fight should have been in New York, and they should have been mandatory drug tests on.
That's the thing. Corrupt. All the fights take place in all the bigger fights. Like Floyd would never fight in New York, but I'm not saying because of him, but he just like, hey, this is my turf. Like, if you want to fight somewhere else, get on my level, and fight me. So it's like, it never. That's how it was.
And also, I don't really like the A side. I understand the concept of an A side and the B side, but
only in boxing that happens.
What I don't like is like I'm gonna pick all the I'm gonna pick the judges. I'm gonna pick the ref. You pick all the judges. You pick the referee, and then even that. Okay, that's in my opinion is not good. That speaks to corruption. But outside of that, also, you could do a catch weight now. It's like you can have the fight. We'll do it at a catch weight. It's like
catch weight.
Or you're gonna do it with a rehydration clause. Like, what are you doing, dude?
And it sucks, man. That's why none of the matchups, like nobody wants to fight Better Beef. Everybody wants to stay away from him.
Yeah,
it's like there's like so it's like we'll just stay away from him. Yeah. All right, Mike. Thanks a lot for coming on. I also want to talk about your movie. I'm very happy for you about this movie coming up June 12th, King of Staten Island. Talk to us about that. How fun it was to film that.
Small. I'm great. I'm grateful to be in it with Pete Davidson and John Apatow directed, and I have a small part in it. So let me say that up front. It's a small role as one of the firefighters in the unit. But it's a great movie. It really is very good. So and Pete,
the reviews are coming in. It's great. Yeah,
there's a lot of stand-up comics that we know.
Well, that's the thing. It's like, it's a good for the community, man. It's like to see all you, like for me, seeing you and Ricky Velez and
Ricky
Paul Verzi, all these guys.
Very good. Bill Burr is very good. Derek Gaines is very good.
Good.
Lynn Koplitz is in it. She's fantastic. It's like Steve Buscemi is in it. Dominic Lombardozzi.
Josie, yeah.
It's he was in The Wire. Buscemi obviously is a movie star. So it's like it was a great experience, man. It was so fun to do. So and it's a really very good movie. It's very
So June 12th. Now I'm gonna buy it. I'm gonna watch it, and I'm just be happy to see you guys in it, man. It's awesome, man. Yeah, Mike Hat, thank you for being on with me. We do this all. I said thank you so much for being on with me. We do this all the time. We talk boxing, but to have it, to sit down and have you join me and have other people. Other people probably don't know how big of a boxing guy you are. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah. I really caught onto it late in life. It's something that me and my father bonded over before he passed away.
And that's a good thing too.
We always had that. We had disagreements and conflict in our later years, and that was the one thing we could get together and just like get together and agree on, like watch. We both loved it, so that's why I'm passionate about it. I see a lot of parallels with comedy, and yeah, man, we always talk about it, so I'm glad.
Man. Yeah, hopefully when this is all over, we can go back to going to fights again.
I'd love to do that, man. I'd love to go back to the barn and go.
We went. Yeah, we had fun, man. It was fun times, man. All right, Mike. Yeah, thanks again, man. I appreciate you, man. And
all right, thank you, Johnny.
See you on another time. All right, brother.
Bye-bye.
All right, that was Mike Vecchione. Yeah, thank you for listening. We hope you had fun. I know I had fun. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Rooting for Laundry. We'll have another one next Monday with another team, another sport, and it was good. All right, later.